who support the work. Here's the story on the taxes. Number one, when we purchased the building 7 days before the Honorable Frederick Douglass's 201st birthday, February the 7th, 2019, the white attorney who did my closing neglected to tell me that I had 2 weeks to apply and secure tax exemption from Newcastle County, because Wilmington is in Newcastle County, Delaware, okay, and also the city of Wilmington. So there's a city tax that you pay, and there's a county tax that you pay. Delaware doesn't have a state tax. Once I bought the school, I contacted the city and the county. I said, hey, we are not-for-profit entity, okay? I want to apply for tax exemption. They told me that you were supposed to have done this within 14 days from the date of your purchase. How in the hell was I supposed to know I had 2 weeks to get tax exemption? So I reached out to the white attorney who did the closing, and I asked him, why didn't you tell me I had 2 weeks to get the tax exemption? Don't you think that's something I should know as a client paying for your service? He never answered the question. You know what that tells me? He did it on purpose. I believe he was jealous that a young black man walked into his office, you follow me, and wrote a check in that amount of money, and I'm not a drug dealer. Those white folks looked at me like I was crazy when I pulled that check out. They're like, wait a minute, who is this guy? So I think they then went to the internet, found out who I was, and became upset that they even accepted me as a client in the first place. So I believe the attorney deliberately sabotaged me because on a certain level, he felt some type of way that a young black man could produce this type of money for a school, okay, and not a nightclub, because, you know, we love to buy nightclubs. He produced this type of money for a school without no white backing, no loan from the bank, straight cash because of the love of the people. So that's number one. The attorney that did my closing sabotaged us. Now let's do it number two. Fdmg was a tax-exempt organization under the IRS. But there's only one problem. The IRS never served notice that we had been approved for tax exemption. So guess what I'm thinking? They sabotaged us too. They couldn't refuse the tax exemption, so they simply said, we're not going to let him know that he got the tax exemption. We find out about the tax exemption after chasing down the IRS officer responsible for Fdmg's tax-exempt application. We was calling them, emailing them, both me and my accountant, professional accountant, working on this with me. And then we come to find out later that the IRS withdrew Fdmg's tax exemption before they even told us we had a tax exemption. So that's set up number two. So where are we right now? Right now we are in the process of applying to reinstate the tax exemption. And the reason we're in the process of reinstating the tax exemption, Brother Hashim, is because the taxes on that school, that campus, that 4-building campus, is over $150,000 per year. We owe, and I'm pulling from memory right now, on the Frederick Douglass building for the city of Wilmington, we owe about $50,000. For the Marcus Garvey building for the city of Wilmington, we owe about $20,000. That's just for the city of Wilmington. For the county, it's even more. For both buildings together for the county, we owe about $95,000. Altogether, you're dealing with more than $150,000, $160,000 per year. We can't afford that. We can't afford that. So my accountant right now is working as fast as he can. I just met with him the day before yesterday to try to get that application in and get it approved, because the last time we did this, they gave us the runaround, and when they finally approved it, never even told us we had it. So the proper paperwork was not being filed because we was waiting for an approval letter that we never got. So where are we right now on the $150,000 taxes that we owe? I have an agreement with Newcastle County that I just made last week, and I have to mail them a $25,000 down payment check on back taxes that we shouldn't owe had we not been sabotaged by both the closing attorney and the IRS. So we entered into agreement with Newcastle County, $25,000 down. We're going to have to pay about $10,000 a month to satisfy the bill before the next bill comes around, which I believe is July of 2019. 2020. With the city of Wilmington, we did the same thing. We're about to do a tax agreement with Wilmington where we're going to put $10,000 down. And again, we have to pay off the balance of that before the next tax bill comes out in July. So we're basically going to be paying almost $20,000 a month in order to satisfy a bill that we should not even owe. I'm saying that to the donors to let them know that if you've been donating 20, you need to donate 40. If you've been donating 50, you need to donate 100 because the city of Wilmington, Minister Hashim, has been targeted for gentrification. It's been targeted for gentrification. And what do they do to get rid of black folks who own property in places that have already been identified as a ethnic cleansing zone? They raise your taxes. So they're trying to price us out of Fdmg because I was told by several brothers and sisters on the ground in Wilmington that there's certain white folk who are extremely upset that we purchased that building because they were just about to purchase it and they did not know that Dr. Umar was in the pipeline. So they're angry because I am blocking their ethnic cleansing agenda. And by ethnic cleansing, that's just the real word for gentrification. So there's people who don't want us there, but we're going to remain there because that's where the Most High and the ancestors put us